Bill Gaither is one of the most influential names in gospel music. He has been a pillar of Christian music for almost 60 years, influencing its contemporary style and motivating successive generations of believers. Millions have been impacted by his work, from the early days of the Gaither Trio to the renowned Gaither Vocal Band and the internationally acclaimed Homecoming series. Beneath the melodies and poignant lyrics, however, is a life characterized by intense dedication, individual struggles, and difficult times. Bill Gaither's journey, which encompasses faith, family, and health, is a testament to the enduring power of love and faith, as well as a tale of success and tenacity in the face of adversity. Lowly origins and the call to music. On March 28, 1936, William J. Gaither was born in Alexandria, Indiana, into a pious Christian family. He was exposed to gospel music from a young age, and church life influenced his ideals and aspirations. Even though music became his love, teaching was Bill's first career route rather than being famous. He started teaching English at a nearby high school after graduating from Anderson College, now Anderson University. However, he composed songs and performed with his siblings, Marianne and Danny, in his spare time. In the late 1950s, he founded the Gaither Trio. By the early 1960s, Bill had come to the conclusion that his vocation was in music ministry rather than the classroom due to the trio's straightforward, emotional harmonies. He later remarked that he experienced some worry when he switched from teaching to a full-time career in music. He once remarked, "It was a leap of faith. We had a message, but we didn't have much money." Ascent to prominence and the leadership burden. Bill Gaither rose to prominence in Southern gospel music by the 1970s. He co-wrote hundreds of church standard hymns with his wife, Gloria Gaither, including Because He Lives, He Touched Me, and Something Beautiful. These songs become global anthems of hope in addition to reaching the top of Christian charts. But success also brought stress. His physical and mental well-being suffered as a result of his continuous touring, operating a record label, and juggling the demands of being both an artist and an entrepreneur. Bill frequently balanced a number of duties, including managing Gaither music, producing albums, composing, singing, and coaching upcoming musicians. The demands on his time grew excessive throughout the 1980s and 1990s. Bill acknowledged in interviews that he occasionally felt mentally and physically spent due to his frequent travels and creative commitments. He and Gloria put in a lot of effort to maintain the authenticity of their ministry, but it wasn't always simple to strike a balance between faith, business, and family. Nevertheless, their collaboration turned into one of the most renowned in Christian music, a monument to cooperation and a common goal in the face of relentless expectations, marriage, ministry, and common difficulties. After getting married in 1962, Bill and Gloria Gaither developed a strong artistic cooperation in addition to a loving relationship. They composed more than 700 songs together, many of which are now commonplace in church hymnals across the globe. Although their relationship was based on a common faith and goal, it also overcame difficulties typical of long marriages, particularly those in the public glare. Gloria has been candid about moments when their marriage was tense, tired, and self-conscious, especially when they had a lot on their plates. In addition to managing an expanding business and touring schedule, the couple was raising 3 children. She talked about feeling frustrated and burned out during interviews, particularly when their personal and creative boundaries became hazy. The Gaithers have continuously placed a high value on open communication and spiritual foundation in spite of those difficulties. Gloria once remarked, "We've learned to give each other grace. We serve a perfect God, but we are not perfect." In a field where broken relationships are common, their more than 60-year marriage is a silent miracle in and of itself. Bill frequently credits their mutual humor and spirituality for their longevity. He claims that you can make it through almost anything if you can laugh together. Health issues and slowing down. Bill Gaither's unrelenting schedule finally caught up with him as the years went by. He started having health problems by his mid-70s, which made him reduce his travel and performance schedule. He has talked about difficulties with exhaustion and the typical consequences of aging, albeit he hasn't made all the details public. Bill has discussed the emotional aspects of slowing down after decades of non-stop activity in interviews. He remarked, "You think you'll be able to go forever. Your body reminds you that you can't one day." Nevertheless, he continued to oversee the Gaither music group and produce performances while taking a break from his demanding traveling schedule. Live music and in-person ministry events were suspended because of the COVID-19 epidemic, which created additional difficulties. The loneliness was challenging for someone whose whole life was centered around communal and religious events. Bill concentrated more on recording special projects and coaching up-and-coming musicians at this time. In addition, he thought about the future of gospel music and spent more time with his family. He urged supporters in a video message to view growing older as a season for gratitude, reflection, and passing the torch, rather than as a sign of deterioration. Grief, loss, and the strength of hope. Bill Gaither has had significant personal losses over the years. He has been profoundly impacted by the passing of close friends, collaborators, and gospel luminaries, including members of his cherished Homecoming family. Launched in the early 1990s, the Gaither Homecoming series developed into a spiritual haven for both singers and viewers. It brought together gospel icons such as George Younts, Jake Hess, and Vestal Goodman, many of whom died in the 2000s. Bill frequently talked about how every loss served as a reminder of both the transience of life and the unending prospect of paradise. He stated, "We don't just sing about heaven because it sounds nice," in a tribute video. "Because it's real, we sing about it. Too many of my pals are waiting for me there." For Bill, grieving became a part of his ministry. He reminded people that grief and optimism can coexist by channeling his loss into songs of consolation and faith rather than withdrawing. As he has grown older, this emotional candor has made it easier for his audience to relate to him. The pressure of public expectations and notoriety. Bill Gaither's lengthy career has not been without criticism, despite his generally positive reputation. While some in mainstream Christian music thought his work was too old-fashioned, some traditionalists in Southern gospel circles accused him of modernizing the genre excessively. He has also come under fire for managing a sizable business while serving in a ministry. Due to the financial success of the Gaither music group and Homecoming tours, there have occasionally been accusations that his ministry has grown overly commercial. In response to these criticisms, Bill asserted that sound stewardship and ministry excellence are not mutually exclusive. He stated, "We've always tried to do everything with integrity. Music is both our livelihood and our ministry, and we want to honor God in both." He has been able to sustain his credibility in the face of change thanks to this openness. Bill has consistently returned to his primary goal, using music to spread the message of faith, hope, and love, even in the face of miscommunication. Family and the Legacy Challenge. Benji, Amy, and Suzanne Gaithers were raised in a world of music and religion, but they also had to deal with the demands of their parents' celebrity. Despite the ongoing responsibilities of travel and ministry, Bill and Gloria have been open about their efforts to raise their children in a normal setting. In subsequent interviews, Bill occasionally regretted the time he was unable to spend with his young children because of his touring obligations. However, he was equally proud of their mature independence and inventiveness. His family continues to be the center of his existence. These days, public appearances are frequently subordinated to holidays, birthdays, and reunions. In a recent documentary, Bill stated, "I'm more interested in who's around my dinner table than how many albums we sell at this point." Aging well. Discovering meaning in later life. Bill Gaither, who is now in his late 70s, has transitioned from being a musician to a revered gospel elder and patriarch. Even though he still makes occasional appearances at concerts and homecoming events, he spends more time using Gaither music to produce fresh talent and coach musicians. In terms of his health, he has accepted the difficulties that come with growing older, such as diminished endurance, reduced movement, and the continual reminder that his body can no longer keep up with his thoughts. However, Bill has welcomed this as another chance for ministry rather than allowing it to deter him. He remarked, "I've learned that weakness isn't something to hide. It serves as a reminder that God, not ourselves, is the source of our strength." He continues to be involved in spiritual activities, frequently leading small groups and devotions. His friends and coworkers characterize him as a humorous and modest man who exudes happiness despite his physical deterioration. Belief, despite the storms. For Bill Gaither, perseverance has always been based on faith. He constantly returns to the themes that have characterized his music: grace, resurrection, and perseverance, whether dealing with health concerns, work-related stress, or personal tragedy. Songs like "Because He Lives" were composed at times of intense doubt rather than comfort. In 1971, during a period of political turmoil and personal concern, Bill and Gloria wrote the song while expecting their third child. The song's words, "Because He lives, I can face tomorrow," were an affirmation of hope against dread. They are still motivated by the same hope today. Bill says, "Every day is a gift. You have everything you need if you can wake up with someone you love and a song in your heart." The lasting legacy. The influence of Bill Gaither on Christian music is enormous. He has produced numerous CDs, won numerous Grammy and Dove Awards, and written or co-authored over 700 songs. However, the community he created, a fellowship of musicians and believers bound by faith and music, may be his greatest accomplishment. In addition to reviving interest in traditional gospel, his homecoming concerts and DVDs have built a bridge across generations, guaranteeing the survival of timeless music and ideals. Despite his personal struggles and deteriorating health, he continues to be a representation of joyous tenacity. He once remarked, "People think joy comes from having no problems. But knowing who is responsible for your problems is what brings true joy." A life worth living. Bill Gaither's narrative is one of tenacity, teamwork, and purpose, rather than perfection or ease. Despite facing weariness, criticism, aging, and loss, he never stops using music to give others hope. His union with Gloria continues to be an example of grace in action. Two flawed individuals fulfilling a flawless purpose. Bill Gaither has demonstrated throughout his life that faith transforms adversity rather than eliminating it. He will continue to sing the message that has guided him for almost 9 decades, that we can face tomorrow because He lives, as long as He has a voice.